First, I want to make sure that you guys can hear me, because I've done this many times and there's no sound. Give me a thumbs up if you could hear me, or something. I'm using this little microphone, and I want to make sure. Hola from the Philippines. I want to make sure you guys can hear me before I start rambling. Yes? Oh, perfect. All right. So I used to do this series called Nightcap on my podcast, and it was after our daughter goes down, and usually at night, I used to sit in my living room in our when we had our house in Altadena, and I used to pour myself a little drink, and I would just sit on the floor, set up the camera, and I wouldn't look at the camera. I would just kind of talk like we're having coffee. And so lots of traffic this morning. So I was gonna do the Costa Rica version of that, which is basically, instead of a nightcap, it's morning coffee. And one of the reasons why I don't look into the camera is because I want to be super in the moment and not feel self-conscious. So I just set the camera up, and it's very kind of slice of life. It's that kind of episode. Anyway, so let's see if this works. I used to do a lot of things in my car, like many people do, because it's a great quiet space to answer questions, do sessions, etc. And here I have a golf cart, so I'm sitting in my golf cart. This is a Costa Rica version of sitting in your car doing videos. I don't have a shirt on because it's hot, and I want to show you something. This is the you got to have this on you all the time. It's bug spray. But look at this, it's industrial size. Let me make sure. This is all pre-game. I haven't really started yet with my thoughts and rambling, but let me make sure that if you're listening, it's an industrial sized can, the sprayer. I have so many mosquito bites on me. They love me, eat me up, and they're not big mosquitoes. They're just tiny. You can barely see them. They're like gnats. And you have dinner on a patio, and then when you're leaving, you realize you have 50 bites on you. So it's one of those things. So you got to make sure that I'm completely lathered in bug spray. That's the first step in the morning. I get up in the morning, and the first thing I do is do my little pour over coffee. I need a favorite mug. We lost all our mugs, obviously, in the fire. And so I bought this little mug. I like little mugs. I don't like big mugs. I think big mugs it's like the Venti, at Starbucks, where it's just, no one needs an Arrowhead bottle size of coffee, right? We don't need 32 ounces of any beverage. I like the little mugs. So this is my little favorite mug. It's a handmade mug. It reminds me, I like the color, and I just picked it up across the street at the coffee shop. Oh, what should I ramble about? What is on my mind? It's been 2 weeks and change, and we're just getting settled in here. It's so crazy to think 6 months ago the difference in my life. And I think this is, one of the great reminders I want to share with people is, and I'm just living proof of this, I think many are too, not just me, but how fast your life can change, and maybe we can start there, because I want to have conversations that people can relate to. I don't want to sit here and just talk about bug spray. 6 months ago, I had a home. Finally felt like I, had built a safe tree, and had an ice plunge, had a little studio, drove my motorcycle to the gym every day. I had my little routine. It felt very very safe. Created the bubble, swam to the island, got to where I've always wanted to go, and in my body, sitting on my porch, taking in the parrots and the little charming city known as Altadena that no one really knew about. It just felt so aligned and right, and it calmed my nervous system. It grounded me in a way. And right when I felt like, oh, we have a house and we have some friends, and this is our little, our little safe tree. The whole thing goes up in flames, and then we're nomadic, and now we're in Costa Rica. I'm looking at a squirrel that's about 5 feet away from me. I should show you the squirrel, because the squirrels here are different colors. This squirrel, oh my god, this, holy shit. Okay, hold on. Look, I gotta show you this thing. Hold on. Look at that squirrel. Oh shit! Is it coming toward me? Okay, is it gonna jump on my roof? I don't know if the squirrels here are friendly, but they're different color. Wow. What was I talking about? So now I'm sitting in a golf cart 6 months later, showing you a multicolored squirrel. The same pour over coffee. There are still some things that are the same, like podcast episodes, videos, answering questions, that stuff. But we have frogs that crawl up our windows now. One of the things that I gotta say that I'm getting used to, it's really strange here because it kind of comes in moments where, I'm getting a lot of questions from friends, how's it like? Do you like it? And I still feel like it's too early to know. But it comes in moments, right? Like, I'll be waiting for my breakfast burrito, at the usual spot that we go to, and a breeze will hit me, and in that breeze there will be a knowing, like, oh, this feels amazing, or this feels right, or this feels, or can this feel like home? And I don't know yet. The other thing that I'm thinking about is, because being forced to experience new culture, new environment, has opened my eyes, and I'm looking at vultures now. There's vultures that, okay, so I went from bears in our trash, parrots in our trees in Altadena, bobcats, to now vultures, frogs, 500 crabs went through like this area property. So like I would come out and there would just be like it's the size of a soft shell crab that you have at a sushi bar, but imagine alive and red, just kind of crawling across. Iguanas, we have iguanas here. I had to clean up iguana shit. I came outside yesterday and instead of I stepped in iguana shit because I don't wear shoes here. I don't wear shoes or a shirt much. How many people can say they stepped outside their house and they stepped in iguana shit? And also, can you imagine if the shit is big enough for your foot to step in, how big the iguana must be, right? I have to also take a broom and sweep up the little tiny turds outside one of our villas. And we found out that, because it looks like mouse poop, and we found out that it's not mouse poop, but it's bat shit. And I'm terrified of bats. Now, obviously, they're nocturnal, so you don't see them during the day, but I guess bats hang out upside down on your porch. Is that where they sleep? Because the shit is on the porch. So we're sweeping that every morning. So that's, yeah, going from that parrots and stuff to now monkeys and sweeping batshit. This is my life. But it comes in moments. It comes in a usually for me it's a breeze. There's something about a breeze that grounds me. Maybe because I'm an Aries. I've always had this relationship with breezes, and I know it sounds kind of silly. For some people it's toes in the sand. For some people it's barefoot on grass. For some people it's being on top of a mountaintop. For me, it's breezes, and sometimes, like, I just had this feeling the other day. I was waiting for a breakfast burrito and this breeze hit me, and I had this, like, in that breeze, in that moment, I feel like, oh, I could live here. This setup is amazing. And the setup is this: it's having 3 little villas on a small little compound, about 2 minutes from the beach, with coffee shops, bakeries, and it's a quaint little surf town. I tell people it feels like 1960s Malibu, and that's what drew us here. Is it's kind of family oriented. It's quiet. It's no skyscrapers, no parties. This is not. There are other areas in Costa Rica where it's a lot more younger, a lot more festive, a lot more traffic, a lot more, and then of course Nosara, about 2.5 hours away. It's like the epicenter of wellness, but Nosara to me it feels like there should be an Erewhon in that area, and so I think it's a great place to go for the weekends and throw retreats and stuff. But to actually live this area here, and I'm not going to say it because if I say the area, I get a lot of people throwing stones at me and telling me not to blow the place up, quote unquote. But it's like a little surf town, and in that breeze the other day, just putting around this area, we don't even need our car. You just need this golf cart. I felt like, oh, I could do this. But it isn't just that I can do this. So now that I'm experiencing this, I'm thinking about, I think what the ideal, at least for me, like the ideal dream of like where I want to land, or where I want to live, is this. It's not actually one place. You know what it reminds me of is back in when you were a kid, your parents / teachers would ask, the grown-ups would ask you, what do you want to do when you grow up? And so it was basically a setup for a one answer question. I want to be a doctor, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be, right? And by the way, I never wanted to be any of those things: lawyer, doctor, astronaut. Being Korean American, the golden answer was always to be a doctor or lawyer. And I wanted to ride skateboards. I wanted to be a professional breakdancer. I wanted to do something, in the arts, right? But it's like that, in that when someone asks you, where do you want to live? It's usually, and this is partly programming probably, and a house in a certain city or suburbs, an area. And the revelation I had the other day was, why does it have to be one? And I know it sounds very privileged. Like, yeah, if you there are people who have multiple houses, and because they're rich. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, why can't you go somewhere like this, where cost of living is cheaper, property is cheaper, and why can't you, whether you're renting or buying, why can't you live here for, say, 6 months to 9 months, and then during the summer or a different part of the year, why can't you then just go somewhere else and rent short term and experience like the city? And I was thinking, I've always thought to myself, that's for rich people. Rich people are bi-coastal. Rich people have a brownstone in New York, a house in LA, and then, a vacation home in Hawaii, right? And this whole experience has taught me that anything is possible, and that you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be rich to do that. One of the things that I'm really grateful for the fires is it forced us into this space. We would never have the courage to pack up and move to a different country and experience it. We would never have the courage. We would have ideas, we'd talk about it, we would hear stories of other people doing it and be like, oh, that would be amazing. But I don't think we would ever have the courage to pull that trigger. Because what happens is logic kicks in and you're starting like, well, what about, our daughter and her friends and, her school and, we have our community here. And there's always going to be a reason why, you can't, or it's too expensive or whatever, right? I don't like planes. But the fire has forced us to do something that we would not have the courage to do. And I think that's one of the gifts in all of this, is life forcing you to do something that you would not have the courage to do. And then you experience that, and through that experience, you suddenly have an eye-opening experience. You know what I'm saying? You also have in your body a knowing of what is possible. And then you start asking yourself bigger questions like, okay, what else? What, like the world opens up, you escape programming. All this to say that now if someone asks me, where do you want to live? It's not a one-word answer for me, and I think that's kind of what I'm realizing is, why can't you have a motorcycle? Sorry. Lots of motorcycles here, lots of scooters, lots of it's kind of like Bali, Vietnam, that kind of thing. No helmets, flip-flops, right? Lots of that kind of, that's what you're hearing. But why can't you have a few? I wouldn't say a few. Why can't you have two different homes in two different environments? And why do you have to rent one house if you could rent a couple smaller bungalows so you can then invite friends and family? That's the other thing that I'm realizing is, the whole dream of having this big house, right? Like growing up in LA, it was always a dream to live in the hills, the Hollywood Hills, and have, the big mansion. And I don't think that's a dream anymore. I think it's more about having some kind of like villa commune where the houses are smaller, but you can actually invite friends and family. So what you're getting is community and fireside chats and continuing to build friends and doing life with people you love, instead of having this big empty house where you're just creating a moat around your castle, right? And yes, you might have fancy shit, but are you happy? Are you connecting with people? Are you doing life with other people? One of the things that I've learned through the last 5 years is the importance of friends, and how we're not meant to do this alone. And you can't really buy friends. I mean, I guess you can, maybe maybe in Los Angeles, or maybe there's a lot of people who buy friends. But to have authentic relationships, which require time and investment and intention, and then when you do build that community, they don't have to just go away because you move. You could create bridges, So I'm having a lot of revelations about what's possible when it comes to how you want to live your life, what kind of life you want to live. I feel like what the fire has done? It's ripped down a lot of blueprints. And before the fire, I thought I had already ripped down a lot of blueprints, old definitions of love, what equals happily ever after, the picket fence, right? And so I thought after my first rebirth, I had ripped down a lot of blueprints, and or I thought I had ripped down all of them. And then after the fire 6 months ago, I realized, no, there's actually more blueprints that I'm ripping down. And that's what's surfacing for me, is how I thought life should be lived, what equals happiness, all being burned to the ground, and then now starting over in a new country. I get to create new blueprints that feel more honest to me. And maybe that's what this is about, right? Maybe that's what this is about. It's not about finding a home, but about experiencing something new so you can rip down old blueprints and create a life that feels more honest to you. There is a shedding, which is thematic, post fires, a shedding. So whether we're talking about, simplifying your wardrobe, here you basically don't need a wardrobe. You just need like 3 pair of shorts and, sandals. We brought, by the way, I would say I brought way too much shit, and I thought I was bringing nothing. We brought, I believe it was 7 black Costco bins, and like I brought 3 pair of jeans, I brought a jacket, I brought pants, and I'm not gonna wear any of that shit. We've been here for 2 weeks, and I think I've only wore like 2 different pair of shorts and no shirt, and maybe a t-shirt. I don't want to be like the American douche that's just putting around in the golf cart shirtless, blasting 80s music, which I am doing. So I gotta be more mindful. So I try to at least put a shirt on when I'm going into coffee shops. So I've got a couple t-shirts, and that's it. Like, I don't even need socks here. Anyway, my point is simplification. One of the things that I've been doing post fires is Marie Kondoing my life, if you will. It's a chapter in a memoir I finished pretty fast, through 3 weeks. I finished the book in 3 weeks, which I don't even remember writing it now. And I think it was very therapeutic for me to do that, right? To like put the experience on paper. And that book, I think it'll be coming out in 2027. It's going to be a while because I have another book before that. Speaking of books, I know I'm birdwalking. That's the whole point of these series. This is Morning Coffee, as opposed to Nightcap, which was the title of this series before our house burned down. The sun rises early here. Like at 5 a.m., it feels like it's 8 a.m. And so that's why and also it's so warm here. You just step outside. The mornings are cold usually, wherever you are. The mornings are warm. It's like 80 degrees at 5 a.m. So it's very welcoming to grab your coffee and step outside. And so I think the Costa Rica version of this series is called Morning Coffee instead of Nightcap. Sometimes I lose my train of thought, which just happened to me now. Yesterday we drove an hour, 1 fucking hour, got into the car. So here, so if you get into your car here, you're going somewhere far, right? If you're going to your car, you're putting on jeans, you're traveling. So we got into a car. We bought a little like a RAV4 crossover, a little vehicle. Cars, by the way, in Costa Rica are very expensive. So you just buy like a used car that, and what's important is that it has air conditioning and really good shocks, because some of the roads here go from pavement to like straight up off-roading, and you're crossing like puddles and rivers because you don't know when it's going to rain. So the night before it could pour, like crazy pour, like biblical, right? And then suddenly the next day, if to go somewhere, you're crossing a river. And so that's why everyone here has trucks, 4-wheel drives, like the exhaust snorkels on their cars. So if we were to buy a car, if we were to live here and buy a car, I would definitely buy a truck. A truck with 4 doors, extra cab, 4x4, like high. Not douchey though. I wouldn't hang the rubber balls on the back. You know what I'm saying? It would be a nice, classy truck. But definitely not a Rivian. There are no electrical vehicles here. My dream would have like a Defender, a Land Rover kind of truck. Anyway, so we got into our car, which means we're going far. We drove an hour because we wanted to go check out. We wanted to go see a movie, and the closest movie theater is an hour away. And we spent more time in the car than in the movie seat, because the drive was an hour there, hour back. The movie was an hour and a half. But it was nice on a Sunday just to like have to go far to sit in a movie theater, watch this movie. We watched How to Train Your Dragon. And then go, have dinner and then come back. It was like an all-day thing. And all we did was watch a movie. And it reminded me of the 80s. It reminded me before streaming, before internet, before instant gratification, where if you wanted to do something like sit at a theater and eat popcorn, watch a movie, you got to get into your car and drive somewhere. And I'm sharing that because that's kind of the tone here. Meaning, it feels like you have traveled like 40 years back. You know what I'm saying? So like, they do deliver groceries and stuff. Everything is, farm to table, amazing, grass fed. The quality of food here is next level. Nothing processed really. Bread feels different in your stomach, right? And but there's some delivery, but there's no Grubhub, there's no Amazon, there's no instant gratification. So you have to go, and by the way, the butterflies here are prehistoric. They're huge, they're beautiful. You have to go to the bakery to get bread, but the bread's fresh. You have to go to the butcher to get meat, but the meat's amazing and fresh and grass fed, quality. You have to go to the grocery store. You have to go to the mini market, and you have to get into your car to go see a movie. And it just reminds me of how I grew up in the 80s. By the way, can I say 5 years from now, the 80s will be 50 years ago? I read that somewhere. I'm trying to do math in my head, but I'm horrible at math, and I don't know if that's accurate. I'm assuming it is. I'm going to believe it. But 50 years ago, 80s was 50 years ago. Holy shit! Wait, is that? Yeah, I guess, because 5 years from now, so I'm 52. So I was around 7 to 10 in the 80s. Those were my wonder years. Oh my God, half a century ago. The 80s was half a century ago. Anyway, it feels like that. And so it feels really kind of good on your nervous system because there isn't a lot of noise. Other than, creatures and lots of mopeds and scooters. All right, well, those are my revelations on this Sunday afternoon. Vanessa and I are getting our first surf lesson. One of the things that scares me, but it scares me but excites me, it's that whole thing, is surfing. Because growing up in LA, I've always wanted to surf. I grew up skating, and I thought surfing would come naturally. I have this water phobia. I don't know how to swim. I also don't know how to run. The horrible running translates in water, because I run like a refrigerator coming down the hill with the doors flapping. That translates into the water. So when I swim, I'm just like, it looks like I'm drowning, but I'm just swimming, right? And so when the wave comes, I'm terrified on a surfboard to go out deep where the waves are. So I never really learned how to surf in LA, and I've always wanted to. Here in Costa Rica, especially where we live in one of the most popular surf towns in the entire country. The waves are like perfect. The water is always 80 degrees, 75. And so at 8 a.m. this morning, Vanessa and I have our first surf lesson. I'm going to just fucking take lessons. My friend Justin B, he was down here. He's getting into surfing. And he told me, just go buy 30 lessons and just take lessons. And I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. It's going to force me to like learn the craft, learn the art of surfing. Most people, and this is how I would just get on a surfboard and just try to do it myself, and zero technique, have a bad experience, then become afraid, and then I'll never learn, right? So I'm going to do it right this time. I'm scared and excited because I'm excited to do it. I'm scared I'm not going to be good at it. And one of my fears is to leave this country with such an amazing opportunity to learn how to surf and then not be able to execute, to not be good at that, right? And I think that's loaded because it's tied to, well, I used to be, decent at breakdancing. I used to be decent at skating. And so, riding motorcycles, functional fitness, like, so if I'm not good at surfing, it's going to really fuck with my ego. And so I really am determined to at least learn the basics and get up on a board. All right, I think that's it. Thank you for listening. And if anything, I think what I would love for you to take away, you're going to take away what you're going to take away. As a therapist, it's one of the things that we are taught is, I don't know if we're taught that. It's something that I definitely practice, which is, it's not my business. It's not my business what people take away from my sessions, my retreats, my books, anything, right? When we start making it our business what people take away from the exchange, then ego gets in the way. And are you truly being of service, or are you trying to, control and seek some kind of validation? So I don't know what you're going to take away from this. I'm trying to make it none of my business. But if I did have a wish, it would be this: to constantly rip down your blueprints of what you think happy looks like, what you think, how you think your life should be lived. That is thematic. After losing our house, 6 months in, redefining everything, including where you want to live, how you want to eat. If 6 months ago someone was to say to me, you're going to stop riding your motorcycle, you're going to move to a new country that's very humid and hot, and you're going to trade in your Harley for a surfboard, you're just going to be in flip-flops, putting around on a golf cart, in rain, sweeping bat shit off your porch, stepping in iguana shit, coming face to face with howler monkeys, and I'd be like, what are you talking about? You have the wrong John Kim, because there's a lot of John Kims in this world. But here I am. Rip down your blueprints, create something new that feels honest to you. Thank you for listening. Be well.